Hello! Welcome to Fantasy Football Office Hours, presented by Front Yard Fantasy. My name is Josh. You can find me on Twitter at FYF Josh, and I am joined by my very good friend, Mr. at the Joey Wright. Joey, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. I just learned the difference between the private chat and the comment section of StreamYard, so I'm doing really good.
Yeah, we were talking before the show, and he was like, "Wait, how?" I was like reading one of the comments. He's like, "How do you see it? Do you go into like the YouTube or like what do you a different screen?" I was like, "No, just click on comments there." He's like, "Oh my gosh, it's it.
Yeah.
That's always been there. That's always been there."
I had a much bigger reaction. Like my eyes got big. I saw, I saw the light at the end of the tunnel. It was amazing.
It was so perfect. It was so perfect. And we got some great questions in the chat already. Before we get into the questions, I just want to mention we are streaming live every weekday, Monday through Friday at 3:00 Eastern time. Front Yard Fantasy. We do the fantasy football game show. You can find us on YouTube under Front Yard Fantasy. That's where you are now, maybe, or Twitter, Front Yard Fantasy as well. We play games. We like to have a good time. Also on Fridays, we are on the FanDuel channels, FanDuel, YouTube, and Twitch. Starting at 6:00, we have the Front Yard Fantasy Hour. And then on Sunday at 7:30 Eastern time, we do the Sunday recap where we recap all of Sunday's games from a fantasy perspective, both on the FanDuel, YouTube, and Twitch channels. Let's go. Very exciting stuff. But Joey, today, we are answering people's fantasy questions. We are giving our advice, what we would do with our fantasy teams. And we got some questions already in the chat, like I said. Let's get in there, Joey. So Mike coming in saying, start 2 wide receivers and 2 running backs and 1 flex. Half-point PPR. Wide receivers are Justin Jefferson, DeAndre Hopkins, T. Higgins, Odell Beckham, Elijah Moore. The running backs are Aaron Jones, Alexander Mattison, Javonte Williams, CEH, and Tony Pollard. He's fighting for a playoff spot. His quarterback's Kyler Murray. His tight end's Gronk. Defense, the Chargers. The quarterback, tight end, and defense look fantastic for this week. So you're good to go there. You're not asking that, though. But Joey, so he's asking to start. So let's start with the wide receivers. His wide receivers are Justin Jefferson, DeAndre Hopkins, T. Higgins, Odell Beckham, and Elijah Moore. Which 2 wide receivers are you starting?
I'm going chalk. I'm going Jefferson and D-Hop. Absolutely. I just love them. I love both those players, and it's hard when you just start your studs.
Yeah, Jefferson's an easy lock, right? Right, Joey?
Yeah.
And then D-Hop and T. Higgins, that becomes more of a question for me. I think Elijah Moore could be a consideration here, but for me, it's also DeAndre Hopkins. Another week back. It was his first week back last week. He's still got a touchdown. Kyler Murray's healthy. I think this is going to be a shootout between the Cardinals and the Rams. So, yes, Jefferson and D-Hop would be my 2 wide receivers. Let's move on to the running back. So, there's Aaron Jones, Alexander Mattison, Javonte Williams, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and Tony Pollard. He needs 2 running backs, Joey. What do you think here?
I'm going to go Javonte and Aaron Jones. Pollard is out for me with the news that we got a little bit ago. So he's not an option for me. I like CEH. I like Javonte. If Cook sits, Madison definitely, because Pittsburgh's not been that great against running backs the last few weeks. So, but as of right now, as it stands, it's Aaron Jones and Javonte for me.
I like what you're saying there, Joey. Yes, Madison, if Cook doesn't play, but it looks like he's going to end up playing, I would be having Madison in my lineup, but we're going to take out Madison now that it looks like Cook's going to be playing. Javonte is now the lock for me. I'm definitely starting Javonte, even with Melvin Gordon. And it's actually a debate between Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Aaron Jones for me, but I'm personally going to go Clyde Edwards-Helaire here. All right, so that's the one difference we have. So far we have Justin Jefferson, DeAndre Hopkins, Javonte Williams for sure, and then a mixture of CEH and Aaron Jones, and then the one flex. This is a little bit tough, but Joey, what do you think? What are you doing here with the flex?
So I'm going to round it out. I'm going to go with CEH, so that we're not differing too much. So but between CEH and Higgins for me.
Yeah, and same for me. I'm going T. Higgins in the flex. So for me, it's Justin Jefferson, DeAndre Hopkins, T. Higgins, Javonte Williams, and CEH. For you, it's almost the same. You're just subbing T. Higgins with Aaron Jones, right, Joey?
Yes.
Perfect. So, Mike, I hope that helps you out. It's just one different player we're saying, but, pretty close. So, Bam's coming in saying Foreman or KJ Osborne. This is a tough one because it's a running back versus the wide receiver position. Foreman, Titans running back, who's, looked pretty solid the last couple of weeks. KJ Osborne, there's no Adam Thielen for the Vikings. So a lot of more targets are expected to go his way this week. For me, I lean Devontae Foreman just safety wise. Joey, what do you think? It's close for me.
There is the safety wise. I do think that the Steelers might try to make the Vikings beat them with Osborne. and Conklin tonight to say, all right, we're going to shut Jefferson down. Not shut him down because you can never really shut him down.
They'll try their
But
best.
there'll be some work for Osborne there tonight. And we saw some good work from him earlier this year. So I do like him tonight.
I love the point you just made because look, we look at the Patriots defense. What's the one thing that they do so amazingly that makes them a great defense is they take away the number one option on the offense. That's obviously Justin Jefferson for the Vikings right now. I know you could mention Dalvin Cook, blah, 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 but he's hurt right now. So I like that. These two are so super close for me. And a PPR, maybe I'd consider Osborne, but I'm going Foreman if I need safety. If I need any kind of upside, though, I like KJ Osborne's upside this week. So we have another question here from Bam saying Madison, Chuba, or Devonta Freeman. So Joey, what do you think here? I guess we can assume that Cook is going to play this week because it's Madison if Cook doesn't play.
Yeah. For any of the Madison questions, if Cook doesn't play tonight, he's a top 12 running back. I mean, yes. you plug him in. But we have to act like he's not playing, or he's going to play, but he's not starting. I have Freeman and Chuba back to back in my rankings. I actually have Freeman above him, but I'm going to change that. I like Chuba Hubbard a lot better for this week.
And for me, I lean Devonta Freeman. So you're a little bit more on the Chuba Hubbard side. I'm a little bit more on the Devonta Freeman side. I'm just nervous about, Cam Newton taking touchdowns away from Chuba Hubbard in the red zone. So how much value does Chuba Hubbard, a guy that's not going to get a lot of pass catching work? I think Maradula is going to have that. But at the same time, it's Devonta Freeman. He's past his prime as well, but I would go Devonta Freeman, but I understand Chuba Hubbard 100%.
I like Freeman though. He's a top 24 running back for me. So he's a start. And like I said,
I think Chuba has a little bit more upside actually, believe it or not. All right. So do I start Eckler and Patterson and flex Hollywood or swap either three for Monty or Hunt? Okay. So I'm not starting Kareem Hunt here. I need to see it first. But Monty, he was just the running back 2 last week. It's hard getting away from him for me. Oh, man, do you have it one way or the other here, Joey? Eckler has to be in your lineup, 100%.
Oh, Eckler, absolutely.
The most
absolutely
obvious, no question. And Cordell Patterson probably does as well.
Yeah, I don't like the matchup, but I mean, he's playing so well right now that you got to play him. And I'm substituting Monty in for Hollywood in this scenario.
You're probably not going to find too many Hollywood Brown fans that are bigger than me. I think he's going to have a great week. But again, I think I'm with you, Joey. I would start David Montgomery over Hollywood Brown. It'd be really hard for me to bench David Montgomery this week after the week he just had, even against the Green Bay, Moving on, Scott Fish saying, I really don't have a great take on the Dalvin Cook Madison thing. I just know he's dealt with a lot of shoulder injuries and played with them. He is taking first team reps at practice. He's talking about Dalvin Cook here. Dalvin Cook has a shoulder injury. He's had the shoulder injury for a long time now. He has played through it in the past. And when he plays, he is a great running back. So I think Scott Fish's recommendation to people is feel confident in Dalvin Cook at this point, right?
Yes. And Fish, Fish is a Vikings fan. So I always take, when someone's a fan of a team, you've got to take that advice a little more. I don't want to say seriously, but in Scott's case, definitely seriously.
They're hearing about the team more. They got a little. I'm not gonna say insider knowledge, but they're there, right? They're just hearing about the team. So I'm right there with you, Joey. If someone's a fan of that team, they're gonna have a little bit more information than the average person. Absolutely. So JR's coming in here. I love JR's guillotine questions, but it's a guillotine PPR survive and advance. Let's go. He needs a running back, a wide receiver, and a flex. He has David Montgomery, Darrell Henderson, Javonte Williams, AJ Dillon, T. Higgins, Ayuk, Zeke, J-Rob, and Judy are on the waivers. I actually don't know what the question is here.
Well, JR beat me in the FYF league last week, so I'm not going to give him the right answer. No, I'm kidding.
So JR, so I'm going to just assume that you need to choose a running back, a wide receiver, and a flex from these available people in the waiver wire. That's how I'm taking this question. The running back is David Montgomery. I think we are both going to agree there, right, Joey?
Yes.
Yeah. What do you think for the wide receiver? I think we're
Higgins.
Oh, wait, there's Zeke there too, though. I'm noticing Zeke and J-Rob. Holy crap. David Montgomery is still my choice, but man, that is a tough decision.
I've got Montgomery above Zeke. I was actually thinking about Javonte, honestly.
If Melvin Gordon doesn't play, it's an easy Javonte, but I can still see someone making the Javonte call over David Montgomery regardless. Are you doing it, Joe?
I'm gonna go Montgomery. It's safer. It seems like the play, and I think we'll agree on the wide receiver.
And then that's the awesome part. There's also a flex here, but I think we're gonna agree on the wide receiver as well. Is it T. Higgins?
Yes, it is T. Higgins.
All right, so look at this. So look, David Montgomery, T. Higgins, then there's a flex. Is that Javonte Williams for you?
That's Javonte Williams for me.
Let's go. It's Javonte Williams for me too. I love when we agree, Joey. So hey, we have the same three guys. Let's go.
We do. Doesn't matter how we got there, as long as it's all three the same.
Exactly. Bam saying may sound like a dumb question, but Elijah Moore or Jamar Chase, and it's not that dumb of a question. It's not that dumb. If it was my fantasy team, Bam, Jamar Chase would be in my lineup.
Absolutely. Yeah. Even though Chase has had, like, I believe it's 6, like, just mediocre weeks in a row, Jamar Chase he's fantastic. And Elijah Moore is great too, but I don't really like that matchup with New Orleans. They're probably going to pick him to be the one they shut down because they do that better other than the Patriots, probably another team.
Yeah. And we're saying Jamar Chase's weeks have been disappointing, and they have been, but they're not like kill your week disappointing. It's not like he's getting no work at all. And he dropped that long touchdown last week. It was so disappointing for anyone that was starting him. But if he got that, you're talking about him completely different at this point.
It's disappointing when you're talking like from he is your wide receiver 1 point of view. Like that's how it's disappointing. It's not disappointing from like a disappointing standpoint.
Is he still a wide receiver 1 for you the rest of the season, Joey?
So I've talked a lot about this the last week. There is another rookie I like better rest of the season than him, and that's Jalen Waddle. And that's solely based on schedule and how much work he's been getting lately. If he's healthy.
I don't think that's crazy to say when it comes down to it, though.
It was crazy when I said it at first, and then I don't know. People have got on board. Not that I started that, because I didn't by any means.
We don't have to hash this out at all right now, but yesterday I posted my video talking about my top dynasty wide receivers, and you posted on Twitter and said, I agree with Josh, but I think Waddle is inching closer and closer there. Right after you said that, I got to tell you, I digged into it a little bit more, and Waddle did fly up my rankings. He's still not in the top 10, but he's getting close. He's getting close.
If anyone hasn't seen Josh's dynasty shorts, they're incredible. A lot of information in a short amount of time. That's why it's called a short. Our wide receivers, the 12 wide receivers, were all the same. And I can't remember if there was just 2 where the order was flip-flop, but it was 2 places. It wasn't much, and I can't remember who they were. But they were all the same, and I was like, now your running backs we'll talk about later.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't that much.
No. I would love to talk about it, though. I could
absolutely.
I say this all the time. I could talk to a brick wall about fantasy football. All right.
Absolutely. And I am a brick wall, so
Perfect. We gotta have a discussion sometimes.
No, but I just absolutely love Jalen Waddle rest of the season, and it's not a indictment on Jamar Chase at all. It's all about the upside that Waddle's
killing it, and not to mention Tua is killing it himself as well.
Yeah.
Right.
It's really good.
Yeah. Tua is legit. So Bam also coming in saying Ayuk or Julio. I'm gonna assume for this week, and this is Julio's first week back. I am starting Julio in 1 league, but if I had to make this decision, Ayuk or Julio, I would go with Ayuk.
Yeah, I'm going with Ayuk too. I guess I err on the side of caution a lot. If it's someone's first week back from a longer stay on the IR, I rarely will start them unless I'm kind of desperate.
I'm right there with you, or unless they're a stud. Christian McCaffrey came back his first week. He was in my lineup, right?
Exactly.
But
Julio is sadly no longer a stud.
He's no longer in that category. He's getting old too. That's obviously, I think, of the injuries and age. They're starting to come back and get him a little bit, right?
Right. Yeah.
All right, JR coming in saying, I was confidently starting Dak over Aaron Rodgers until the Pollard news. Now I'm not sure. Professors? Do you have an opinion one way or the other? I will say right now that Dak Prescott and Aaron Rodgers are back-to-back in my quarterback rankings this week. Joey, if you had to make this decision, who would you start?
I am 2 spots apart on them, and I have Dak at my QB4. I love Dak this week. I love the matchup, even though it's at Washington.
And I'm on the other side. I have Dak.
Okay.
I have Dak one spot below Aaron Rodgers, so I'd be going with Aaron Rodgers. So JR, I wish we could provide you a little bit more help here, but you flip a coin, I guess, when it comes down to it.
They're both good starts, though, and
they are.
Rodgers is playing, at Lambeau, so there's that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they are both the quarterback 6 and 7 for me this week. I have Aaron Rodgers at 6 and Dak Prescott at 7. So, you just said,
I have Aaron Rodgers at 6 as well. So maybe there's something there.
And then you have Dak Prescott at 8.
No, I'm at 4.
Oh, 4. Two apart. You're starting Dak.
Got it.
I got you. We got Jordan coming here in the chat saying, Joey.
Hi, Jordan.
What a good-looking dude. What a good-looking dude. I agree. Yeah, good-looking dude. I digress.
Does anybody miss the mustache? That's what I want to know. So
you still got a mustache? Still got a mustache?
I'm growing
it's a little more
the friends back together.
Goatee, kind of going down. Yeah. So we have Brendan coming in here saying, you guys think Brady or Stafford this weekend? Both have tough matchups, and I completely agree. If it were my fantasy team, I'd be starting Tom Brady against the Buffalo Bills this weekend. We just talked about Aaron Rodgers and Dak Prescott. Aaron Rodgers is number 6. Dak Prescott is number 7, and Tom Brady is number 5 for me. What do you think, Joey?
I have Tom Brady 8 and Stafford 10. So I agree with you on Brady.
Let's go.
Even though the Bills have given up a little bit more to the pass lately, I'm still a little bit worried about Brady, even though it's at home. And so I do think that these are the two teams that will be in their conference championships, but I think both of them will lose. So
the Bills and the Bucks, you're saying?
Yeah, the Bills and the Bucks.
Yeah. Who are they going to lose to?
The Ravens, which I know you're happy to hear that. Ravens has been my Super Bowl pick all year. And I don't think anyone's going into Lambeau and winning in the playoffs.
I'll say, I'm a big Ravens fan. I love your call, but them losing Marlon Humphrey is very detrimental this past week. It sucks. They were struggling in the secondary, and Marlon Humphrey is one of the best cornerbacks in the league. Lamar Jackson is going to have to play like the best quarterback in the NFL for us to succeed in the playoffs, in my opinion.
So like he was the first 8 weeks of the season? Yeah.
Yes.
He can do.
Exactly. I know he can.
Yeah. I'm a stubborn flag planner though too. Once I plant a flag, I'm hard to come back up from it. So
I love it. Yep. JR coming in here saying, Joey, big shoes to fill. J-Wall was off the charts. Ooh, comparing you to J-Wall there. J-Wall's the man.
I need some more mirrors around me to really stand up for J-Wall. All I have is movies. So, J-Wall, I love J-Wall. He's a great guy.
All right. So we have Unruly Drip coming in here and asking, who are we starting this week? Is it T. Higgins or Terry McLaurin in a PPR league? Terry McLaurin has been relatively disappointing the last few weeks. T. Higgins has been lighting the world on fire. Joe Burrow has that finger injury too, though. So maybe that affects a little bit thing. Who are you starting? Who are you going with here, Joey?
We've been saying the one spot apart. I feel like the chat went into our rankings
for me too.
And looked at our rankings. Okay, let's make you make a decision.
Crazy. That's so crazy.
Yeah. I have Higgins.
We're on the same page.
Yeah, one spot apart. Higgins is my wide receiver 13. McLaurin is my wide receiver 14. So I would start Higgins.
This is hilarious because I have McLaurin one spot ahead of T. Higgins this week. So I would be saying start Terry McLaurin. That's so funny. But man, it's a tough decision. I'd be going Terry McLaurin though.
Both are starts. For sure.
Yeah. They're both in the top 15 for me. Are they for you as well?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. 13, 14. It's funny because before the stream started, I was like, Josh, usually we're off, but everything we've been saying earlier this week been right in line together.
Absolutely.
Then we got a show together, and nope.
But we are in line. It's just like we're off by like that much,
Splitting hairs, yeah.
But Jeezy coming here saying, don't think Mitchell plays this week. I don't even think he plays either, to be honest with you. I was going to plug in Monty, but he is hurt as well. So I have Najee, and I'm starting Javonte and J-Rob. Who do I sit? I also have Terry McLaurin. So you lost me a little bit here. But you have Monty, you have Najee, you have Javonte, and you have J-Rob. How many do you have to start is my question, right?
Yeah.
Let's just say he has to. Let's just put them in order. How about that?
Okay.
Let's put Monty, Najee Harris, Javonte Williams, and J Rob in an order for us. For me, Najee's number one.
Absolutely.
After that, it would be David Montgomery,
Yes.
Javonte, and J Rob. Are we on the same page?
Ooh, I have Javonte ahead of Montgomery right now.
Okay,
But it's a spot, so it's.
And there's also the question with Javonte. Melvin Gordon could still not play, and then Javonte is a smash start, right? So there's a little bit of blah 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 there, right?
Maybe this is a good point to like talk about Javonte if we can for a second. Like,
yeah, go ahead.
Did he do enough last week to win the job?
He looked awesome last week.
He did. Was that enough for?
It was enough to give him 60% of the workload while Melvin Gordon gets 40%, I think. You know what I'm saying? Where maybe it goes away from a 50-50 split to where, Javonte Williams is on the field just a little bit more, but I still think they like Melvin Gordon. Let's be honest, Melvin Gordon looks good when he's out there, right?
He's been great. And they're playing Detroit. So, Detroit's kind of like the Jets where they can support two running backs having good games.
Yeah. I tend to agree with you there. But let's move on to the next question. We have Bam in here saying Chase, Hollywood, DJ Moore, T. Higgins, Judy. Pick 3. All right. I'm going to speak for both of us real fast and just Judy. We're going to just Judy out of here. He doesn't really belong in the conversation. No offense to Judy. He's very talented. He's just not producing like we would like, right? So we'll Judy. So we got to get rid of one more guy here. Between Jamar Chase, Hollywood Brown, DJ Moore, and T. Higgins. Joey, who are you taking out? Or what 3 are you starting? Yeah. So, I got to check.
Man, am I taking out? Yeah, I think it's Hollywood Brown for me. I have him at 17.
Yeah, it's Hollywood Brown for me as well. Oh, man, and I'm such a big Hollywood Brown fan. I think he's going to have a good bounce back week as well, but it's Hollywood Brown. I would not be starting him. So both Joey and I agree we are starting Jamar Chase, DJ Moore, and T. Higgins here.
Yes, absolutely. Right. Bengals and DJ Moore. Fantastic. We got a lot of big cats in that lineup.
Do I risk starting Osborne over Keenan tonight?
So, go ahead, Josh.
I think you probably are going to have to. I would like to know what your other options are outside of KJ Osborne. If there's someone that's in the same tier, let's say, as KJ Osborne, I'm willing to wait. But if let's just say KJ Osborne or Keenan Allen, and those are your only 2 options, you kind of have to go KJ Osborne because I think it's a high likelihood that Keenan Allen doesn't play this weekend.
Yeah, because he is vaccinated, correct? And then it's a 5-day window. So he
needs to be symptom-free and test negative twice in 24 hours, right? I believe that's what the case is.
And he tested positive on Sunday?
It's highly unlikely in my mind.
It's a big turnaround.
Yeah. And he hasn't done so yet. I think I'd be rolling with KJ Osborne.
You know what? So would you pick up as a Guyton? Guyton? Is that how you pronounce it? Guyton.
Jalen Guyton.
Would you pick up Guyton and just wait to see if Keenan sits, put Guyton in?
So you're asking, let's say that Guyton was also available in Bam's league.
Yeah, so if he's available for Bam, would you go pick him up and just wait it out?
Yeah, I can't. Guyton and Osborne are in the same tier for me of wide receivers. So like I just said, I think that's a fine decision. If you want to wait on Keenan Allen and roll with Guyton, if Keenan Allen doesn't play, I am absolutely fine with doing that. So look, with that, I think that's a very good example of what, an example of what you could do there. Brendan coming in saying, flex Brandon Cooks or Dawson Knox? Oh no, I hate this question. Oh man. So I have Dawson Knox ranked as my 5th overall tight end this week, and Brandon Cooks is pretty low on my wide receiver rankings. But at the same time, when it comes down to it, let me just see where I have Brandon Cooks ranked.
I just want to look at them.
Yeah. Okay. So Brandon Cooks is playing Seattle. I think.
Oh, man. So either I'm live or Josh is live. I don't know. So I'm just gonna talk like it may be that Josh is not live, and I would actually start Dawson Knox because there's one position the Bucks do give up points to. It is the tight end. They're eighth against, or yeah, they give the eighth most points to tight ends. So I would start Dawson Knox. Brandon Cooks, I'm not trusting very much. Let's see what's the next one. Mooney or Knox at the flex. Let's see. All right.
I hope you did
Hi,
it.
Josh. I was drowning.
I don't know
the question. I answered a question.
I don't remember the last time my internet just cut out like that. It literally kicked me out of the StreamYard. But...
Oh boy, I can't wait for J-Wall to clip that. Oh boy.
You're like,
No, I thought it was my internet at first because that happened the other week.
Oh,
that's
so
funny.
who did you end up going with here?
I went with Dawson Knox because the Bucks are giving up points to the tight end. Mm-hmm. They're eighth against the tight end this season, so that's what I went with. And that was a lot smoother now than it was when I said it.
I'm absolutely fine going with Brendan. Dawson Knox here, but if me personally, I'm still leaning the wide receiver. I'll go with the Texans. Getting Brandon Cooks a ton of targets like he's been getting. I know he's been disappointing lately, but Dawson Knox disappointed last week. But that in that windy, crazy game, I think Dawson Knox has a bounce back week. I think both these guys have bounce back weeks. I'll go Brandon Cooks here though. And we have a very similar question right after this. It's Darnell Mooney or Dawson Knox. I prefer Darnell Mooney over Brandon Cooks myself, so I would be going Mooney over Knox. Does this change anything for you, Joey?
I would go Knox again because I have Cooks over Mooney. So
this is what I want to do with you, Joey. I love writing things on my little board over here, and I love making gentlemen's bets. Let's do it. What? Who are you more confident in? You could get to choose my person. I'll take Brandon Cooks or Darnell Mooney.
I'll give you Cooks. He's higher in my rankings.
Let's go. Cooks versus Knox. Shake. Let me just write this down real fast. Actually,
so what do I have
to after we get into the next question?
It's
just a gentleman's bet. I get to make fun of you a little bit if you're wrong. You can make fun of me if I'm wrong. That's how it goes. So we have Unruly Drip, better DST, Broncos or Chargers this week. For me personally, I really like the Chargers against the New York Giants.
Yeah, I mean, they're rolling Fromm out there, so I always like starting a DST against a rookie.
I think both are great starts this week, though. I think they're both very good starts when it comes down to it. JR coming in saying, if both Keenan Allen and Pollard are out, I need one from the waiver wire. Ayuk, Jamal Williams, or AJ Dillon. Ooh. Joey, do you have one way you're leaning here? Ayuk, Jamal Williams, AJ Dillon. I guess we'll assume that DeAndre Swift's out, right?
If Swift's out, it's Jamal Williams for me.
If Swift's out, it's also Jamal Williams for me. So there's that.
If not, Ayuk.
If not Ayuk. So we're on the same page there.
Cool.
Let's keep moving. So here we go. Would you start Ertz or Conklin this week? Joey, would you start Ertz or Conklin this week? And I'm going to write on the board our little gentleman's bet that we just made.
Okay. So Ertz or Conklin? I would actually go Conklin because, and they're back-to-back in the rankings. So is it Lucius? I feel like you went and looked at my rankings, which you probably didn't. But yeah, I'd go Conklin over Ertz. With Thielen being out, I like the matchup. He might be getting the red zone targets that I was expecting Irv Smith to get earlier this year because those are normally Thielen. So
I would also be starting Conklin over Ertz myself, and they're back-to-back in my rankings as well. But I'd be starting Conklin. I think Ertz has a little bit more upside, but Conklin's a little bit safer with his target volume, in my opinion. Jay coming in saying, asking Chase Claypool or Jerry Judy this week. I am starting Chase Claypool myself.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm not a huge fan of Judy this week.
I love Judy's talent. It's just he just hasn't been producing. It's been disappointing, honestly. I expected a lot more when he came back from that injury, personally. So, Mr. Curly Wolf. What's up, guys? We go Pollard, Josh Jacobs, or Madison this week. Love the content. It's an easy Josh Jacobs for me.
Yes.
Unless Dalvin Cook doesn't play tonight, but it looks like he's going to end up playing.
Let me look real quick at. I mean, keep talking, but we're
Yeah,
at Josh
absolutely.
Jacobs because I moved him up higher than I was. Yeah, I have him at running back 10.
I have him running back 11 for this week, so we're very close there. Josh
Yeah.
Jacobs, he's getting so many targets. Kenyon Drake just broke his ankle, unfortunately, 2 weeks ago, and we saw what happened last week. He got 9 targets. He's getting more and more involved in the passing game. I love what I've seen out of Josh Jacobs lately, especially in a PPR league.
And I believe Jalen Richard, is he still on the COVID-19 list or did he get activated today?
I'm not 100% sure there. But I really don't think anyone's really threatening his role when it comes down to it.
No, but I mean, there's just more time that Jacobs could be on the field.
So Bam saying some news here. Mark Ingram, of course, is on the COVID-19 list. That is absolutely correct. But now there are 3 running backs. Ty Montgomery is also now on the COVID-19 list. Smash start Kamara. To be honest with you, Bam, it's a smash start Kamara, even if all these guys weren't on the COVID-19 list. When Kamara is healthy, he's in your lineup, and they're playing the Jets.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think Josh and I, if they put us in against the Jets, we could at least both go for 60.
I would get 60 total yards. Yeah, it would probably be on 1.5 yards per carry, but they you know how to beat the Jets. It's running on them. So
on the ball.
Smokey the Cat saying Gesicki on bye. Who to cover this week? Everett, Ricky Seals Jones, Moreau, or Komet. For me, it would be Komet. You have a way you're leaning here. And obviously, if Darren Waller doesn't play, Foster Moreau is a better start. But even if Darren Waller doesn't play, after what I saw last week, I'm going with Komet myself.
I'll go with Gerald Everett.
Okay.
You know, Houston is a team that if you're going to beat him, you can beat him with the tight end. He hasn't gotten much work lately, but it's starting to tick up a little bit. I'd have some fun. Although I do love Ricky Seals Jones. If he's somebody you can go out and grab and just stash on your bench to see what can happen. With Logan Thomas going out, I was super high on Logan Thomas. And Ricky Seals Jones was a decent fill-in when Thomas was out. So
you just got to keep an eye on if he's playing, because he was out with a hip injury the last couple of weeks, I believe. Yeah. But if he's playing, he's going to be on the field a lot, right? So I'm right there with you. For this week, though, it's going to be Komet for me still. Jay has a question for Joey. What does the inside of his hat smell like?
It smells like roses. It smells. I was sweating a lot. No, it probably doesn't.
I love it. So JR, Guillotine League, number 2. PPR, need a running back, wide receiver, and 3 flex. There's Darrell Henderson, Sony Michel, David Montgomery, Saquon Barkley, Tony Pollard, Keenan Allen, and Deontay Johnson. Deontay Johnson is the first name that was like, oh, he needs to be rostered. And so, okay, he needs a running back, a wide receiver, and 3 flex. So the running back, would you, for the rest of the season, be picking up David Montgomery or Saquon Barkley, Joey? I'm sorry I got rid of Henderson and Tony Pollard here, but
Tony Pollard, we've pushed him out of every conversation we've had so far. So you were right to do that.
So David Montgomery, you said?
Montgomery, I mean, Deontay Johnson's definitely my wide receiver, like you said.
Yes. Now it's kind of an interesting thing when we're coming down to these 3 flex. I think Saquon Barkley has to be one of those 3 flex, right? Mm-hmm. I think Keenan Allen, even being on the COVID list, should be one.
Yeah, and I'm looking at the start time.
Henderson.
So I believe you could. So if the Rams running back is our last option, or Keenan Allen, I think just hold. And if Keenan Allen plays, plug him in. If not, you've got Henderson and Michelle.
Yeah, I'm with you. Bam saying David Johnson versus Seattle, and I want to just say this: Seattle has a pretty horrific rushing defense. Or Madison tonight is still Madison. If I had to choose between these 2,
I mean, even though David Johnson's back, Rex Burkhead still might outwork him.
I expect Rex Burkhead to get more carries than David Johnson. That's so gross to even say, but Madison, just the long shot that he does, get a half of work, or that he's still involved, Mm-hmm. Who to play tonight? If both are active, Cook or Madison, and it's an easy Dalvin Cook for me.
Absolutely. Yep. If Cook's on the field, there's a reason to have him out there.
For that Osborne Keenan Allen question, I also have the option of Judy, MVS, and Julio. I said on our last show that I'm starting Julio Jones over KJ Osborne regardless. So that makes it a pretty I wouldn't say easy decision because Julio doesn't separate himself from KJ Osborne like that much. But for me, I would be waiting on Keenan Allen's status then. Remember that question, Joey? Where
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
So if you have Julio as an option, you don't have to play Osborne tonight. Then you have other. We were under the assumption this is your only two options. So.
Mm-hmm. Front Yard Fantasy being just a saint in here in the chat saying, if you're enjoying the show and haven't already, hit that like button and consider subscribing to FYF. It's the easiest and not to mention the easiest way to support the show. I love that. And not to mention our favorite way to support the show. It's you, Joey. Josh froze. Yeah, I know I froze. Get out of here. Nick coming in saying, pick 2 for this week. Kadarius Toney, Jeff Wilson Jr., Pat Fryermuth, and Jalen Guyton. I'll just go first here. I don't think Jeff Wilson's playing, first of all. So I'd be going. Do you expect Kadarius Toney to play? What were you about to say about Toney there first?
No, so I think it answers itself.
Yeah, me too. I'm right there with you. So Guyton and Fryermuth?
Fryermuth, yeah.
Yeah.
I love his name, so I will to the day I die.
Jordan, I'll check my Twitter in a little bit, but I'm too scatterbrained right now. Pat Fryermuth or Conklin this week? I think this is a great question, but I'm going.
This is a really good question, and I am also one spot apart. I'm going Fryermuth.
People love asking the one spot apart questions for us. Today, the Chosen Rose asking, I'm not the biggest kicker guy. I don't provide the best kicker analysis when it comes down to it. But Joey, he's asking Dustin Hopkins, Tyler Bass, or Greg Zuerlein. For me, it would be Tyler Bass, just because
Tyler Bass.
Yeah, Buffalo.
When I look at kickers, I look at points. Like what the game's gonna have the most points, and so.
Exactly, I'm right there with you. Right there with you. Greg asking, is it safe to drop Ridley now? My options are Cole Beasley, Tony, Crowder, and Tevin Coleman. Yeah, it's absolutely safe to drop Ridley. We haven't heard anything.
Yeah, I can't imagine he's back in 1 week, because I was going to say, well, if you need to win this week, you can. But I don't think Ridley's coming back this season. I hope he gets better.
That being said, like these options aren't like must adds, right? At the same time, I would say Tony, he's in a very similar situation where he can't get on the field, but if he's on the field, he's a solid start. But Ridley is the best start if he ended up playing at some point this season. So I'm not saying you have to make this move by dropping Ridley, but I probably would for really any of those guys.
I'm assuming you can't hold him in your IR spot.
Yeah, I assume so as well. Question here: start Conklin or Schultz? 4-point PPR. It'd be Schultz for me.
It'd be Schultz for me as well. And
he's saying he needs a win or my season's over. I would be going with Schultz. He's been so consistent all season.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Mr. M, T. Higgins, Elijah Moore, DK Metcalf, and Brandon Ayuk. Which 2 should I start? Oh no. I for some reason I think we're both gonna have T. Higgins in there.
Yes.
Joey, I would like to get your opinion on DK Metcalf, because he has been pretty bad the last few weeks. He is playing Houston this week. Russell Wilson did look better last week.
Yeah.
Is DK Metcalf in your lineup?
Yeah, absolutely.
It is for me as well. So it'd be T. Higgins and DK Metcalf for me as well. And then Elijah Moore is not far behind. I just want to throw his name out, but T. Higgins and DK Metcalf. I have Mike Glennon on bye, or Mike Gesicki on bye. Yeah, it's got to be Mike Gesicki on bye. I picked up Ricky Seals, but Higbee and Kmet are available. Again, I don't know if Ricky Seals-Jones is going to play this week. That would be my biggest concern. If he does, I think he's fine. I think Joey would say that that's the guy he would start, but for me, it'd be Kmet.
Yeah, so I would start Ricky Seals-Jones if he plays. If not, I would actually go Kmet as well. Yeah, I wouldn't go Higbee.
Beautiful. And we got a few more questions in here. We're going to wrap up in a few minutes. But need 2 wide receivers, 2 running backs, and 1 flex in a full-point PPR. He's got A.J. Dillon, Javonte Williams, Dalvin Cook, Darrell Henderson, Brandon Cooks, Justin Jefferson, and Hollywood Brown. Nice team.
Very nice team.
So let's start with the 2 wide receivers, Joey. What are you going with here?
Justin Jefferson for sure on one of them. And I will go with Hollywood Brown for the other.
Yeah. Brandon Cooks just don't have enough faith in him, right? I'm glad we could answer Hollywood Brown for one of these questions. All right, 2 running backs. Who are you going with, Joey?
If Dalvin starts tonight, I'm fine starting him out of these options, and then Javonte Williams. I think it's on record. I'm pretty high on this week.
We are the same exact
Woohoo!
options so far. It would be Dalvin Cook as long as he's playing, and Javonte Williams. So we have Justin Jefferson, Hollywood Brown, Javonte Williams, and Dalvin Cook, and we need one flex. Joey, go.
Ooh, and one flex.
It's tough. It's tough.
It's between Cooks and Henderson for me.
Me too. I'm excited to see because I have who I would go with.
I'll go with Cooks.
Okay. I would also go with Cooks. I'm a
Ah.
little bit nervous about Henderson's workload. A little bit. I'm a little bit nervous.
I see why I lose to you in Fantasy Spy every week because I don't know what you're gonna say every time. Like, well,
yeah,
Josh
I
disagreed
got
with
you.
me.
I got you. I got you.
Good.
I got you. So we
Thanks for
got
the
Pam
sub.
first. Oh yeah. Thank you so much. Liked and subbed. We really do appreciate it. We really do. He said also have Julio. That doesn't change anything.
Nope.
So full PPR flex, Brandon Cooks or Deonta Foreman. Brandon Cooks for me.
Brandon Cooks.
Charlie, Chase Claypool or MVS. Chase Claypool for me.
Claypool.
Smokey the Cat, Flex Gallup, Sony or Madison. And again, we're going to assume that Dalvin Cook is playing because it's easy Madison. If not, Joey, are you leaning one way here?
I'm leaning Gallup.
I know where I would go.
Yeah.
And it's crazy.
If Henderson weren't to play, it would be Sony all the way. But I'm going Gallup. He's got 9 targets in his last 3 games per game. So
he had a
Gallup.
beautiful touchdown last week as well.
Yeah.
But they are going to be they're getting Amari Cooper fully healthy, CD Lamb back. Gallup's the safest option here, but for me, if it was my fantasy team, and that's typically how I like to give advice, I have a feeling, and it's more of a gut feeling, that Sony Michel is going to have a great week this week. So if it was my team, I would be putting Sony Michel in there. But again, I got to reiterate, that is a gut feeling from me, more or less. It's not a logical decision. Gallup would be my logical choice. I don't usually break down advice like that, but there's something about Sony Michel that's drawing me to him this week. How's that make you feel, Joe?
No. Yeah. I think the next one's a brag. I was reading it.
Godwin and flex, Jefferson and Adams starters over Renfro or Gage. Worried about matchup against Buffalo. And Joseph. These are beautiful wide receivers, but you can't consider benching Godwin. Even for Renfro, who's been killing it. Renfro's awesome, right? In a PPR.
Yeah, he's been great. Yeah, and there's really no one else to catch the ball in Las Vegas. First time I've done that this year. It's at Oakland. Oh my goodness.
I haven't done
actually
that in a little
Oak,
while.
which they play near the Oaks.
I called the Chargers San Diego Chargers the other day.
Yeah.
So
it happens.
Yeah. But Godwin in that high-powered Tampa Bay Buccaneers offense, I just don't know how you could even consider benching him for anyone. I mean, obviously Justin Jefferson Adams over Godwin, but there's not many. There's not many others.
It's been interesting with Tom Brady and Tampa Bay because I'm a Bucs fan, and usually with Tom Brady, it's like the squeaky wheel. That there's the Gronk game, there's the whoever game. They alternate between receivers. And that really happened with Tampa Bay. I mean, it's been Godwin, Evans. So even though Godwin had, I think it was like 14 receptions last week, I would still go.
He had 15, I believe.
15. Okay, yeah, so even more. I don't think it's gonna be like an Evans game where Evans gets 15 by any means.
Now, Evans isn't necessarily that receiver. I think Godwin's is typically going to get more targets on a weekly basis, while Evans has more touchdown upside and more deep play yardage upside. But hey, both are starts, week in and week out. Jeezy saying Elijah Moore, who has been practicing, and that's a great point. He hasn't been practicing. I'm a little bit nervous for his availability, or DJ Moore, and just because of what you said, that I mean, it's DJ Moore for me.
DJ Moore.
Also, some wide receivers available on the waivers are Julio and Gage. Those are guys that I recommend picking up in most leagues, but not starting over either of these options. You agree, Joey? You wouldn't start Julio or Gage over.
I agree.
Moore,
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So are you going with Osborne or Brandon Cooks, Joey?
Cooks.
It's Brandon Cooks for me as well. Joseph also coming in saying, yeah, Renfro has been killing it. That's the only hesitation I have. And he's amazing. If it's a PPR league, I understand why you're considering it, but I would not do it. Couldn't do it. Joey.
Is that it?
That's all the questions. This was fun.
This is very fun.
A lot of fun. Thank you so much for joining me here today. I know you're going to be joining in office hours going forward. I always have a lot of fun when we're both on this doing it together. So
It's fun. I love you,
again,
Josh.
Joey.
This is great.
I love you too, man. And guess what?
Look, love today so much.
Trading makes fantasy fun. Yeah. All right. So if you like what you saw, hit that like button, subscribe to FYF. We're every weekday at 3 o'clock. We're playing the fantasy football game show. Come on. We'd love to have a good time. And we're doing office hours every Tuesday and Thursday during the season. Those start at around 4:15 Eastern time, right after our normal stream. Love you guys. I hope everyone has a great night and wins their fantasy football playoffs. Let's go. All right.